I can usually say, okay, that sounds good or that's not really feasible. It is fine. We are not the right fit for everyone. And I think it took me a long time to be able to say that. I think that takes courage, it takes experience and time to be okay with that. Practice. But I'm also really happy to refer you to someone that may be a better fit. I'm glad to do that. There's room for all of us. There's lots of talented people out there. There's all different scales of design.
Welcome to the Designer's Oasis podcast. I'm your host, Kate Bendewald. If you're tired of one-size-fits-all advice to running your interior design business, you're in the right place. Join me each week as we dive into topics to help you run a thriving interior design business without the hustle. We'll talk about the business of design, but also mindset and mental health, because I know when you thrive, so will your life and business. It wasn't that long ago that I stepped away from my corporate interior design job to build my own design business so that I could realize my own creative dreams, have more time with the people I love, and serve my clients at the highest level while making more money than I ever could have working for someone else. It wasn't always easy, and I made my share of mistakes along the way. Fast forward to today, and I've learned a thing or two. Since then, I've built multiple six-figure interior design businesses on authentic word-of-mouth referrals with many repeat clients. And I want to share it all with you, the ambitious, inspired, and I get it, occasionally overwhelmed interior designer who shares this dream of transforming lives through the art of interior design. You can do this. Thank you for letting me spend part of this day with you. Let's get to it. My guest today is Maggie Griffin of Maggie Griffin Design, a full-service residential interior design firm in Gainesville, Georgia. Maggie is known for her modern Southern living style with spaces that are freshly classic and comfortable for everyday life. Today, we're talking about the changes we've seen in the design industry since the pandemic, especially in terms of lead times and project cost. We also talk about how to manage client expectations who might be looking for what Maggie calls a move that bus moment, and how she can educate clients on what to expect without scaring them off. And we also answer a listener question about how to know when to accept or turn down a project. And if you do need to decline, how do you do that gracefully and respectfully? Please welcome my guest, Maggie Griffin, to the show. Well, good afternoon, Maggie. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hey, Kate, thank you. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on your podcast. I'm so delighted and honored to be here.
I'm so excited to visit with you today because I have been taking a deep dive on your website and your Instagram. And first of all, I just want to compliment you. Your interiors are beautiful. I love everything that I got a chance to peek at in your portfolio. You have really beautiful work.
Well, thank you very much.
So I'm really excited to chat with you today because I know that you've been in this industry for a while, and you've seen a lot of changes, and you've seen the industry change both in terms of client expectations and homeowner expectations, but also as interior designers and how we work has evolved. And so I really want us to sort of talk about and think about how industry changes are affecting how we work today and our client expectations, and really get clear on that, because I think especially for new designers who might be kind of new to the business side of things, I think there's a lot of information out there about how things work, and some of it is relevant and some of it is kind of, let's be honest, dated. And so let's set the record straight with a couple of truths about what the state of the home design industry is today. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Awesome. Well, before we get started, I would love to hear a little bit about your backstory. How did you get started in the business of interior design?
So I get asked this question a lot. Kind of when did I start? And I can honestly say it kind of feels like something I've been doing my whole life. I was raised in a small town in middle Georgia, and it's a ag-based community. There's beautiful farms and small businesses, but not a lot of resources. And so my mom and my grandmothers, who all three have wonderful taste, would pack me up and we would drive to the big city of Atlanta. We would go to antique stores and to antique malls and to ADAG and design studios and fabric stores kind of my whole life. So I had a little bit of a background. And then when I went to school, the University of Georgia, uh, my first major was actually in psychology. I finished that degree pretty quick. And then I added on furnishings and interiors. So I double majored in school, and furnishings and interiors at UGA is a residentially based design program. So we learned a lot about the history of residential design. Kind of the first, men and women in our country who were doing this, the history of design overseas, and just all the technical things too, how to kind of break down what a fabric is made of and how to measure for window treatments and all the things that you learn in design school. So I tell people design school teaches you a little bit about a lot, but there's really nothing like the hands-on experience and really the trial and error that comes with real life experience. So when I was in college, I worked for a high-end gift shop where we did some design kind of in the shop as well. We would have someone come in, they would say, "Can you help me refresh my bed?" Or "I need help styling these shelves." And so I was able, as a college student, to pack up my car and take things and see what worked for that client. And a lot of times I would come back, with nothing. It would all work. And so that was really, and of course, as design goes, one thing leads to another. You go from the bedroom to the living room, And so I had a little bit of a client base. But my husband and I, when I had not spent a lot of time where we live now, we're in Gainesville, Georgia, which is about 45 minutes above Atlanta. So it took me a little bit of time to establish myself here, but I'm grateful for everyone who, really stuck out their neck for me, who took a chance on me. And 15 years later, we have Maggie Griffin Design. I'm sitting here in my studio. My husband and I bought this building or this small little house about 8 years ago. It needed a lot of renovation, which was fun, but
You're like, I got this.
I got it. It's a Sears and Roebuck house that was built here in 1920. So,
hold on. Did you say it was a Sears and Roebuck house?
It is.
So tell our listeners who might not know what that is a little bit
So
about.
a Sears and Roebuck house is a house basically that was ordered out of a catalog. It's a kit and it's assembled on site. So this particular house was ordered from Sears and Roebuck. It came here on a railroad car and was moved to this great little spot in Gainesville. We are in our historic district near Brenau University, which some people may be familiar with, the women's college. So I'm in a great little neck of the woods. The house beside me is also a Sears and Roebuck house that is still a residential home, but the house is perfect for me. It's a little tiny cottage. We renovated it and we have grown. And so now we have 4 designers here, myself and 3 other designers who work in the Maggie Griffin Design Studio. And we also have an in-house art gallery, Caroline Nix Gallery. So we have a lot of fun resources under one roof.
Oh my gosh. I love this so much. So you actually have a gallery there that you can source from for clients right at your fingertips.
Yes, it has been really wonderful. It's a great starting point for a lot of our clients' rooms. Color composition or, something they're drawn to. We use that resource and utilize it all the time on our installs. We can, take things to try. It's been really a blessing for both of us to have, each other under this roof.
I love that so much. And so my understanding is that you kind of started your own design business right out of college. Is that correct?
I did. Right out of school, I moved to Atlanta like a lot of, my classmates did. I wasn't there for very long because I got engaged shortly after that and then moved to Gainesville, Georgia. So I kind of planted my seeds here 15 years ago. And at the time, I was kind of doing several things. One of my great friends from home is James Farmer. He has a big design business. And back then, he was doing a lot of events. And
Mhm.
so I was tagging along doing events. And a lot of times those events, were weddings or rehearsal dinners, and they were being hosted in clients' homes. And so he and I were doing a lot of fluffing in addition to arranging flowers and helping our clients host parties. So that was a lot of fun. And, we did that for a couple of years until I had my oldest. And my oldest is Henry. He's now almost 11. And since then, I have my own clients, and it's been so great. And James and I have commiserated many times over how much fun we've had along the way.
Oh, well, I have one of James Farmer's books, so I know exactly what kind of world you were living in during that time. He is an incredible designer, but this is all starting to make sense to me because as I was exploring your website and your home store, your online store, I noticed that one of the things you do so beautifully is tablescaping, which I would assume you got a lot of practice doing that with your work with James as well. You really, and of course, I'm sure growing up with your mother and grandmother, they probably taught you how to properly set a beautiful table. But that is one of the aspects that stood out to me about your shop was all the beautiful tablescapes. So that makes sense to me now.
Yes, it's something I'm passionate about. I love to cook. I love to have people in my home. I it's a joy to me to do that that's my love language for my family and friends. I love arranging flowers. I love setting a table, and it's really sweet now. My boys get into it. I have 3 boys, and they'll say, "We're going to help mom." They just love to, kind of count the glasses and the plates and that type of thing.
Cute. I love that. They are getting properly trained by you in this way. It's funny, I'm listening to your timeline and you said you had an almost 11-year-old. I graduated about a year later than you, and I have an 11-year-old, just turned 11. So you and I have been sort of tracking at the same
Yes.
time in our careers and raising families, and it was definitely having my first child that changed the trajectory of my own business and life. So I get you there for sure. Well, so Maggie, you've been in this industry for some time now, and I know that you've seen a lot of things change over the last, oh gosh, however many years. What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen that impact your work as a designer today compared to when you first started?
Well, we'll just go a long time ago. I mean, social media is just an animal, in and of itself. That has
Right.
really changed the trajectory of careers. And, having that platform and a space to share your portfolio that is free is really, to me, I think, fascinating. I could have never dreamed of that.
Mhm.
Um, it has been great for me. It doesn't necessarily, um, you know, equal to inquiry or job or, but it does give me legitimacy, and it gives me a platform to share some of the amazing things that we have going on here. So, you know, just even when I got married 15 years ago, Pinterest didn't exist. So
Oh, yes.
just that didn't
Wow.
even, now you can plan your whole wedding in like 5 minutes on your phone. But what I think has been such an amazing part of that is that I can see it, and I know you can too. We can see it up here, but our clients can't. So in about 10 seconds, I could say, this is what I'm talking about. Oh, okay. So I think that has been such a great part of it.
Right.
Now, the caveat is all of these design shows that make this look like it happens overnight.
Sure.
And it's really not ever. It really wasn't ever, certainly not now, wasn't ever
Yeah.
a move that bus moment. Um,
Right.
there are months and sometimes years and days on end that and hours and hours and hours that go into our projects.
Right.
So then when we have this global pandemic that really changes every aspect of our life,
Mhm.
you've got this giant surge in the home industry. In our neck of the woods is certainly the second home industry. We're in a beautiful part of the state. We have lake country here. We're close to the mountains. So many people doing second homes during that time.
Yeah.
There's so much tragedy that happened during those two crazy, weird years.
Yeah.
But then there's this animal of this home industry happening too that I think we're still kind of reeling from. Of course, global supply chain is still very much an issue, and it really forced us to pivot on how we operate and managing that expectation for our client, and to our clients, saying, this is what this looks like in 2024.
Mhm.
Just explaining how the process works, what the time involved is, and really more the expense.
Yeah, so let's dive into that a little bit more because what we're talking about is first of all, I love that you said it's not a move that bus moment because no truer words have been spoken. Even if we do a client reveal, it's never, we make it look easy to our clients, the best that we can, but there's a lot of learning that has to happen for clients, even if it's not their first time working with an interior designer, even if it's not their first time doing a renovation or new construction. So you mentioned global supply chain and right, the duration that projects take but what are some of the specific client expectations that you find you're sort of you have it on repeat with your clients, really sort of reining them in terms of how things work?
So I kind of, as the face and the owner of Maggie Griffin Design, I try my best to vet our inquiry before it's passed to one of my designers. That's not to say they find clients on their own too, but if it comes across my desk, I try to at least do a little bit of background on who that person is on the other side of the screen. And really I think that there's really no better way to communicate than over the phone if you can't meet face to face, because emails just can read very differently.
Mm.
So just I ask, have you ever worked with a designer? What was that experience like? A lot of times they haven't. They're coming to us as very green. And then just kind of walking them through the steps. Okay, I know you've seen our portfolio. I know you've seen our Instagram. Let me tell you what happened before that image landed there on
Sure.
my feed.
Yeah.
And so, the number one thing is time. What does this look like? How quickly is, like, or with the time involved in this? It is not a quick process. And the expense. We are here to help and educate our clients on how best to spend their dollars. I really want you to invest in a sofa and a beautiful chest and a great lamp that in 10 years you say, I just need to recover it and I need a new lampshade. That's really our MO. And we're not here for quick decorating. I really would rather kind of take our time and, it's like a sweater, that's woven. And if you pull a thread, eventually the whole sweater falls apart.
Yeah.
I try to tell my clients, we really don't want that to happen. I'm here for
Sure.
kind of to guide you through in the priorities involved, and what that looks like. I'm more than likely not going to source something from overseas for you unless I know how long it's going to take for it to get here.
Right.
I'm not going to say, let's custom build a table that's coming from England. I would rather us find one here. There's lots to choose from here.
Yeah.
So just to educate our clients on those things. You can also tell from our portfolio, we like old things. So, that's another part. I'm talking through this with my clients. I'm like, if you just want to, if you want me to just go out to Home Goods and buy a bunch of stuff, that's not going to happen here.
Yeah.
These things take time. They're very intentional, and just kind of preparing the client for what that looks like so that when we do get to the order process, they're not saying, I can't believe it's only been, or I can't believe it's been a month. Why isn't my stuff here? Well, a month is like an hour right now. So you're just like, it's better than it was.
It is. It is. But still, there's a lot that's changed that hasn't gone back, and cost is one of them. So tell me this. How do you specifically talk to a client so that you're setting expectations that this is going to take a long time and it's going to cost a lot of money, and not have everybody run out the door and say, well, you still got to sell it, right? We still need clients. And so how do you talk to them in a way that encourages reality, right? Because the last thing we want is to give our potential clients, a false sense of expectations and then not be able to deliver on that. So how do you set those expectations while still selling it, right? To still have them feel like, and it's going to be so worth it. What does that conversation look like?
So, number one, I try to tell them, if you love this particular project of mine, let me tell you what happened. Like before that image landed, if it's a new build, how long did that process take? If it's what we would call more of decorating or just interior design, what that looked like too. And I'm here to help them along the way to communicate, like, this is the really nice custom sofa that I want you to have. If we choose this, frame, or if we choose this frame, these are the two things, and we can kind of compare. So it's really just kind of giving them a little bit of say-so in that process too. But also, lining up, if it's a new build, we say, this is what this phase looks like. In that phase, we have enough experience with construction to educate them on that. But to say, we're here to offer a service. We're here to alleviate this stress off of your plate. We're here to give you the home that really you may not even know you wanted. So, and let us help you, not necessarily hold your hand along the way, but let us just take that off of your plate and let us help you get there. And in 6 months, 12 months, you're going to have a space where you're telling your girlfriends, okay, y'all got to come over. I'm ready.
A place they're really proud of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So you're painting the picture that, this is going to exceed your expectations. You don't even know what you don't know yet. And we can make this perfect for you and for your family and the way you live. And so that's the approach, while also being grounded in reality about, and this is what it's going to take. And here's past examples and how we got there with these clients.
Hey there, designer. Have you checked out the Designer's Oasis shop lately? If not, you are really missing out. Not only did the shop get a glow up, making it super easy to find exactly what you're looking for, but we've also added some amazing new digital products with courses coming soon. Hold on to your hat, friend. You have to check out the brand spanking new Project Budget Calculator. With this tool, so much of the hard work is already done for you. All you have to do is plug in the project details and it will tally up the project budget for you. Go through the relevant categories such as furnishings, lighting, kitchen and bath. It even includes popular specialty designs such as built-ins, wallpaper install, and fireplace design. Pick which products you'll need and the quantity, and then choose the good, better, or best pricing options. The pricing is already there for you by default, but with one simple click, you can always adjust if necessary. It's flexible, it's fast, it's easy, and it is the last budget tool you'll ever use in your interior design business. Oh, what's that? Can you create different budgets for different rooms? Oh, heck yeah, girl. I even designed it to add it all up onto one master sheet so you can easily present that to your clients if you'd like. Head over to the shop to check out all our new products and get 10% off your first order when you use the code SHOP10 today. That's designersoasis.com/shop and use the code SHOP10 for 10% off your first purchase.
So one of the things that we offer here on the podcast is listener submitted questions. And you actually hinted to a question earlier that I was hoping to bring up. Yeah. So one of the questions that we had submitted recently was from a woman named Cheryl. And she asked this: how do you decide what projects to take on and when to pass? And if you decide to pass, how do you gracefully decline a project?
So I think, that's where hopping on the phone for me can really give me a sense of what they're prepared to do. If I have a client who says, I am already at drywall and I need everything picked out, in the next week. Well, we're really not the people for that either. We have other projects going on. So a lot of times time frame can kind of weed some of that out. But also, what are you prepared to spend? I think
Yeah.
there's that is a big one, is what you want to spend and what you will spend. Those are usually two different things.
Uh-huh.
But also having had enough experience now to say to the client, okay, you see that house, that house in my portfolio. Well, let me tell you what they spent on their interiors and how long it took. Oh, okay. Okay, I can do that. Or, oh my God.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
I had someone throw out a number one time. I mean, it was fairly recently, and I said, I can't do anything for that right now. Like,
Right.
and I'm not the one that is going to tell you to do the hand block drapery. Like I'm going to be really cognizant of every one of your dollars, but I try to just say, like, this is not realistic.
Mm.
That can also, we can talk through that. One of my questions too that I ask a lot of my clients is, before we go any further, maybe go into your own living room or your master bedroom and make a list of what's in those spaces. And if you can remember how much you spent on those items.
Mm.
And that can give you a lot better picture of what this is going to be. It's likely to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds.
Mhm.
If you just say, if you can add it all up and say, if it all needs to be replaced or if we're doing a second home, that's kind of what that looks like. It just happens to be all at once.
Yeah, yeah.
We can also prioritize with our clients. I tell them when they're moving, you really want to have your rug down, your drapery in place, and let's allocate the right funds for that. And then if we need to take a minute in 6 months, we can keep adding.
Mm.
So I think that's another thing I try to just talk through with the potential client is, like, it's not going to happen all overnight. The time frame, where are these items going to go? We've got storage fees, we've got shipping fees, we've got our fees, if we're bringing in an architect. So, and just talking through that, I can usually tell really quick if they're
Yeah.
serious.
Sure, right. And so obviously you've got clients that are going to come through the door from time to time, and it's evident to you that you're not a good fit. So how do you do that gracefully without being, disrespectful to somebody's budget, let's say, for example, and what they
Right.
have to spend, realizing that everybody's got a budget no matter what tier they're in. So how do you
Yeah.
address that?
Well, I think number one is me being realistic about what it costs up front.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times they aren't really sure of their budget.
Sure.
They may not even really have a number. And
Right.
so if I can kind of start talking through that,
Mhm.
then I can usually say, okay, that sounds good, or that's not really feasible. And I also, it is fine. We are not the right fit for everyone. And I think it took
Sure.
me a long time to be able to say that. I think that it takes courage, it takes experience and time to be okay with
Practice.
that. But I practice. But I'm also really happy to refer you to someone that may be a better fit. And so I'm glad to do that. There's room for all of us. There's lots of talented people out there. There's all different scales of design.
Yeah.
So there was someone recent who I went through about a 45-minute conversation. I said, let me take a minute to kind of look at our schedule, think through this. You talk, to your husband. And I was able to email her and just say, I don't think this is going to be in the cards for us for lots of reasons, but we wish you the very best. And if you need a recommendation locally, this was out of state, I'm happy to help you. And she was so gracious and wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I'm hearing you say that I think makes a lot of sense is that you can give yourself permission to sort of take a beat, right? Take a minute before responding on the phone. If you need it, right? There might be times where you can, right away, and let's not drag this out any longer. But to give yourself permission to say, let me take a minute, look things over, look at our calendar, look at the budget, and get back to you. And that can give you the opportunity to sort of prepare your thoughts. Because I'm thinking about the new designer, right, Meg? You have a lot of experience, but to the new designer, saying that can be kind of hard. It can be very hard, especially for that designer who's looking to level up their portfolio and they want to leave room for those really meaty projects that they can sink their teeth in. And maybe this is a project that's not going to give them that portfolio level project. And so I know for me that it was really hard when I made a decision to stop taking any projects that didn't have the budget that I needed to work with so that I could really build my portfolio. But yet I was still getting those calls, and this was, of course, years ago, still getting those calls. And it was so challenging for me at that time to be able to be on the phone with somebody and say, I don't think I'm a right fit. So I like this approach that you're taking where you can actually almost like get out of it in a graceful moment. It tells them that you're going to think about it and sort of look at what you're able to do. And be able to respond by email or with another phone call after you've had a chance to really think about what you want to say. And the other thing would be too, to just, kind of practice and think about what you want to say in advance. I mean, this happened to me recently and I had to think, and it was really good that this happened to me from a client perspective. We were looking at hiring someone to help with some ads and they had a minimum ad spend of $10,000 a month. I simply don't have that, right? And I kind of knew going into it that, I was talking to somebody that had really big corporate clients and I kind of knew I probably wouldn't be a good fit for them, but it was a friend of a friend and she encouraged me to contact her anyway. And she actually gave me some really helpful advice just on our discovery call. But, her coming back to me and saying she wasn't able to take us on because they wanted to work with clients who had a minimum ad spend of $10,000 a month. I mean, this is business. I didn't take it personally. I was just able to say like, yeah, I get it. That makes sense. And there is somebody out there who can work with me. They're just not the right person. So it was really good for that, I think, to happen to me because it allowed me to be able to experience that from a client standpoint. And she, of course, did it in a really respectful way. So, and the other thing that you talk about was showing past examples of you came to me because you like what you see. Well, this is what it takes to get there. So I think that's a really helpful way of going about it too. It's been a long time since I've done this, but one thing I did years ago, I could probably use a refresh, but we actually took some existing projects and outlined line for line right next to the pictures, this is what the contractor's fees were. This is what our fees were. This was the furniture budget was. This was the construction budget. Window treatments, really itemized it. And it did, of course, take work. We pretty much put a case study together. And we didn't know that information wasn't public on our website, but it was something that we kept in our back pocket so that when we had a conversation with a client, we could send that over to them quickly and have them look at, here's what it really took to get there. So I think even having something like that ready to go could be a good idea. I always love to hear what people have going on and what they're excited about. Maggie, what's going on in your business that has you excited? What's getting you up in the morning that you're looking forward to this year?
I think that we are at such a amazing time in design right now where we, because of social media, things like YouTube, podcast, even for someone who is not necessarily in this career, we can really kind of absorb ourselves in it. We can go on YouTube and watch home tours. I am a total junkie when it comes to these home tours. I cannot stop. I love it.
I am right there with you. April Tomlin, I cannot get enough of her home tours.
Yes, all of it. Design magazines, to me, have never been richer. I feel like, coffee table books have just never been more at our fingertips, and Instagram. And I think I'm really excited about design. And so I just love that there is so much meat out there with it. And where we are, of course, Atlanta is a amazing design hub. I mean, it's like what we have going on is just so interesting. And I'm grateful that we're just we're kind of a little suburb that gets to be a small part of it. And also the town where I am, Gainesville, Georgia, in North Georgia, is growing at a rapid pace. And so just seeing what's going on here and the opportunities we're getting because of it is just really fun. I think that one of the beautiful parts of kind of post-pandemic has been seeing how much our families that we work with are desiring to be together. And whether that's building, a little compound on some family land or a larger second home so they can all be under one roof, that has warmed my heart because I'm from a large family and we love being together so much. So those things, who is it? It's someone said, I don't know if it was Bunny Williams or David Hicks. He was like, at the end of the day, this is about the way that we live. And I'm so interested in that, interested in the way people live. I think that's why I'm such a junkie on these home tours. I'm like, how are they doing it? Like, what's their layout? How are they styling? How are they using these beautiful things that they have? So I think that to me has just been a great part of the past couple of years.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Yes, clearly you're in your zone of genius. You eat, sleep, and breathe design, and you're clearly in a wonderful part of the country to be able to doing this. There's a lot of promise with Gainesville being such a growing area. I have a friend who has a family farm down there, and I've never been, but I've seen pictures, and it's absolutely stunning and just a beautiful part of the country. So I would imagine there's a ton of inspiration there for you in that respect too, just from the landscape.
It is. It's a great place to be and to raise a family. And if you're ever in our neck of the woods, we'd love to see you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will take you up on that for sure. Oh, Maggie. So before we go, I would love to give you an opportunity to share where people can find you, share with us. First, tell us your website. What is that?
Yes, our website is MaggieGriffinDesign.com. Like I said, we have 3 other designers who work here. They are featured on the website. I'm so proud of them. They all do such beautiful work, and we all have, our own projects, and I love seeing what they're doing and their creativity and their passion too. So MaggieGriffinDesign.com. And then my retail site is MaggieGriffinAtHome.com, which is where we share a lot of the things that we love to use the most in our projects.
I love that. And how about Instagram?
Oh, our social handles are at Maggie Griffin Design. So Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, it's all right there.
Wonderful. Well, we'll of course be sure to link to all of that. And I think I might have to have you back sometime to talk about running a firm with a team and what does that look like? And how do you manage the people and divide responsibilities and bring all of your creative energy to the table? So consider that a standing invitation. We'd love to have you back to talk more about that and anything else you want to talk about, Meg.
Let's do it again.
I would love that. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and a delight to have you, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your year. Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks, Kate.
Bye.
Hey friend, thank you so much for letting me spend a part of this day with you. I'm so passionate about helping designers like you, and I believe in a rising tide, that when one of us does well, we all do better. So if you share this attitude of abundance with me, I want you to do just one little thing. Please share this episode with someone you think might love it. And if you're feeling extra generous today, go ahead and take just 30 seconds to open your podcast app and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It's free for you to do, and it helps me to be able to keep making more episodes and resources for you. However you choose to help, please know I appreciate you so very much. Thank you, my friend. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you soon.